Hello everybody, welcome to the MNB World talk show. Today we have invited an amazing violinist who dedicated herself 20 years in the art industry. So she is also the founder of the Deegii Music School, and please welcome the leading cultural worker, Violinist Deegii. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. Let's talk about, first of all, your childhood. About your childhood. So in 1986, you were selected to attend the music college in Mongolia, right? So at the age of 7, as I remember, right? So could you please tell us, why did you choose violin?
Oh, when you're actually just introducing me, just in the beginning, you said that I have dedicated my last 20 years of life,
Yes.
To music, and in fact that it's much more than that, because right from the beginning, like the age of 7, 8, that's where I was already connected to music. But I feel like 20 now myself. So it's the wonderful thing about art, right? I have been chosen to actually to study in the music college, back in 1986, from the kindergarten, So my kindergarten, which is like a number 25 kindergarten, which is right behind the government house, is just happened to be located nearby music college, right? So there are teachers around from the music college, would just go around the kindergartens, to choose the talented kids around, So I'm lucky that I'm the one that's chosen, and I'm grateful to have, I always believe in that there's a destiny for everyone, right? To which road to actually go to, and that was probably been my path to actually be in the music industry, a part of music life, So I got chosen to violin student. I mean, the violin teacher that came in. Chose me as a, all this in terms of the hearing ability, in terms of the physical ability, and everything has been quite qualified, So, but I do remember as well that I was qualified for the piano student as well, And at the time, I used to live back in the Gare district. So, in the Gare, just imagine that, having to have a piano. The piano is a quite physically big instrument, right? And to fit it in the gear, first of all, and whereas violin instrument is quite portable, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and the big huge difference between the piano and the violin was that I had to have a piano at home, which I had to purchase myself. Whereas if I chosen to go to the violin, so that the violin was given by actually all the violin instruments were given to the students from the school, So my mom says that just choose whatever that is being given from the government, So anyway, that's the beginning of the violin life to me. Yeah.
Let's talk about the most memorable parts of your childhood. Could you please share with us?
Memorable part is, I would just say that I'd always been tired, because like a normal student would just carry the school bag, and that's it, right? But as a music college student, right from the childhood, that we had to carry the
instrument itself,
the heavy school bag, number 1, number 2, that instrument itself, and number 3 is all the music notes, So, and number 4 maybe that the music college at the time was the cleanest school, that we always had to change the shoes, So we'd always bring extra shoes to change, So I just that's what I remember. My childhood gives me the packed bus, me in the really packed bus, carrying lots of stuff, and sometimes they have to carry the violin this way or that way, horizontal way or vertical way, just to actually just keep it safe. But then, and back at the time, everyone used to just take the public transportation, So that's my childhood, I guess. Yeah. If I'd be able to enter the front door, right, in the bus, I'd be very lucky, And that's my childhood.
Okay. Now then, let's talk about more positive parts of your life.
No, it's not negative at all, you know, because that's the real life that I've been in. And I'm
that's
so
the reality.
happy. I'm so happy that I've been able to taste, I've been able to go through all the stages of life without any, you know, the pressure, you know, and that's how we all used to be like, you know, that our society used to be like, and I'm grateful for whatever we have today and wherever we're going, you know. So it's a huge change that we're going through.
Okay, in August of 2003, you released your very first solo album, right? Could you please tell us about the uniqueness of that album?
The first album, right?
Yes.
The first album, in fact, it is been released 2001. Yeah, in Singapore. Yeah, so that's the whole inspiration come from the very first track that I did, Hinti High Mountain. You know, so in my style, Deegii style. You know, so that was the style that made a special music arrangement for that Hinti High Mountain, and it's actually the medley of those the Hinti High Mountain and Arti Хоёр Dooны Найруулга. They're two the Mongolian beautiful tracks, you know, the medley, you know. So whenever and wherever I play that only track that I had, right, around, and just people just liked it so much, you know, just gave me that enormous applause, right. So that pushed me to actually, you know, produce the first ever album. And my grateful person that I'm always, even today, is that music composer Puje. Puje Baksh is the guy that he actually just gave me the courage and gave me an idea to actually release the first ever this instrumental album. You know, was in Mongolia actually. You know, and we never had such CD and album before for the instrumental version. Never. You know, there have been other singers CDs and stuff like that, but there's no instrumental album being released. You know, so gave me the courage. Gave me the idea, gave me the push to actually just do it together. So back in 2000, I went to Singapore to work on the album for a month with music arranger Halyun and then the composer Purvdarj, you know. And those are the two guys that are really genius, you know, in this music industry, and they really have done the enormous contribution to, you know, lots of singers, lots of artists, lots of, you know, people like me, you know, so I'm really grateful. And yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let's take a look to your resume and CV in photos.
Okay.
Well, thank you. That's very interesting. Now let's talk about your educational background. So in the USA, you have graduated the university, and your professor was Miss Delena Jensen, right?
Yes.
So could you please tell us what exactly did you learn from your teacher?
Okay. She is a really famous, distinguished professor at that university, and that the whole reason was to study under her, really, you know. And there are lots of students from all over the world that would like to study with her, under her. So first of all, I went to that university and had audition, you know. So I have wrote the written letter to her, you know, so that she's actually originally Puerto Rican, you know. So she's the first ever American citizen to actually get the Tchaikovsky silver medal. So she's a silver medal. She herself is a performer, and she was at the time teaching at that university at the Grand Rapids in Michigan. You know, so I wrote this letter, and I just, you know, to send the. I think I remember that I sent the copy of my performance, you know, And she says that I have never ever heard anyone from Mongolia before, right? And it's interesting, you know, interesting background. And she was quite interested in my background, I mean the musical background, because we do have the Russian Russian sort of technique, Russian sort of base on the classical music, right? So that means that it's really the world best classical training, you know, it's called, right? So she's quite interested, and she got me accepted as a student, you know, and I would take once a week the music lesson, you know, only once a week, and I would just die for that 1 hour, you know, for a whole week. And how much I prepared, how much I used to practice, how much I used to just absorb as much as I can, you know, that only 1 hour of the music lesson that I get it, you know, from her. And she gave me actually what it is called beautiful timbre, you know, the timbre, you know, it's like the it's all about anyone can actually just be technically challenging and technically beautiful, but the timbre comes from the heart, timbre comes from the person, and she really worked on so well for the producing the beautiful sound, you know. That's the only thing. The other thing is that, of course, in the violin, the violin instrument playing is the key to the beautiful player is to actually have to hold the violin, you know. And she really fixed up my thumb, you know, to take it out. And every time
they say that there are different positions of the fingers in Russian schools, in German schools, right?
I mean, different. You don't. What? Generally speaking, of course, there's the type of the holding, have to hold the violin thing, you know. But in terms of have to actually really produce the beautiful sound and use the all potential of your fingers and arms and stuff like that's a secret there, really, you know. And I came back in 2006, and then I invited her actually to Mongolia after 7 years, you know. And she came to Mongolia, and she with her mother, you know, with her daughter, you know.
I see.
So we played a concert called Tchaikovsky, the Night of Tchaikovsky, with her, you know.
Really?
And it was just beautiful. And she is the first ever one to play Tchaikovsky violin concerto for all three. I would say 3 parts, you know, 3 episodes, you know. So with the whole orchestra, you know. And she didn't use one single microphone, and it was just totally acoustic, you know, concert, you know. So I still remember that night very well.
Wow.
I could just send you show you some photos and videos.
We'll be happy. Yeah, thank you. We're continuing talking about your life abroad. So when you first started studying there in the USA, I mean, did you feel there kind of cultural shock maybe?
I pictured American life is like from the movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the people come from the movie, and then like usually East Coast, West Coast people are the ones that would say that the real Americans, you know. But I'm the one that happened to study right in the middle of the states, which is a Michigan state, and that's where you would hardly find the Asian face, you know, all blondes, you know, all we say yellows, you know, we all blondes. Anyway, so. It was a quite different expectation that I had, which is compared to actually the place where I studied was quite narrow-minded sort of people, like that they're the one that just proclaimed that America is the best country of all, you know. But that wasn't the whole point for me to actually study, you know, and be there. But there are times that I would almost forget my face, my look, you know, because you know, wherever you look, you know, there'd always be the original, you know, the blondes, right? And so sometimes I look at my face in the mirror and say, oh yeah, I look like that, you know. And the one thing is that, you know, because why am I saying that? Sort of narrow-minded, or, you know, because they're the ones that they think that they're the greatest, you know.
Yes.
And they would always sort of look down to other, you know, the nationalities, you know. And I do actually felt the
this.
Really, I mean, the life itself is. I mean, to me, it's like studying in the States was like, yes, of course, I studied so many things, you know, but studied about me too, you know, because how life is. Really, I studied the life there, I would say.
You were alone and
very
from your
distance. And some students, you wouldn't believe. You would ask, okay, Deegii, when you go back and when you land in your country, right? Would your parents be, waiting for you with a horse or something?
Yeah,
that's what they would ask.
Asking some nomadic questions, about
so they would
nomadic lifestyle.
Only, especially in this that part of the nest, they would just watch the CNN or only that, and they wouldn't really have any information about the current Mongolian
ideas about
nothing. So I first of all really gained the knowledge of how much the mother is to me, really, after being a distance from my mom, right?
Yeah.
Number one. Number two is how beautiful the Mongolian meat tastes like.
Yes, exactly.
Compared to all the other food that I had, And so, because in the States that I would just, they would just eat the burger, that's it, and drink the Coke, right? And that's it. And to me, they're so cold-blooded people, right? But I had to have something hot. I had to have soup. I had to have something
meaty,
meaty stuff, the cooked stuff. Something. Then that's what makes me feel, that they're strong in strength. Yeah. So those are the two things that I really, really missed so much.
I see. Okay, now let's talk about your different concerts that you were organizing. So you were organizing concerts in Mongolia and abroad, right? So let's talk about the most challenging performance that you had in your career, maybe.
As you said, challenging, right? The challenging performance would always be the one that I would play to someone that's nearest, closest, right? So just quite recently, we had this Teachers' Day celebration, right? And my music college, music conservatory, the teachers, the elder teachers, they celebrated their, how do you say, Elders Day, Elders Day celebration. And then they asked me to come and perform for their, party, right? And then I saw my beautiful teachers, and I'm now over 40, right?
Yes.
But when I was a small student, they used to be my age, or they used to be even younger, right? But now the world is, the time is so fast like that. My music teachers are all above 60, 70, right? And then even if they're celebrating and they're in a very happy mood, that it was a most challenging moment for me to play for, front of my teachers, And I would just, even if I'm now Deegii, that I become like a little girl back, and I just be quite nervous, and then at the same time I was so nervous, and I was, because usually most of the time that I never get nervous on the stage, really, because this is me, But again, for the teachers,
it's
I would
something special.
I still be the little girl, and they would still look at me, maybe, and we had such a beautiful moment, I played 3 pieces, and the first 2 pieces were quite kind of nervous, and then I said that, come on, let's just enjoy, don't give me that look, don't give me that look. I just want to enjoy, and of course you want to enjoy, right? Then I just played my Chardash, and I just played amongst the teachers, and they were so happy, and and it was a happy, beautiful moment that I had. Yeah. So at the same time, I'm sweating away like this.
Of course. So now you're also a teacher as well, like them, right? And you also established the Deegii's music school, right? Why did you decide to establish the music school? And let's take a look to your school, shall we? Okay.
So here I am in my school. We have actually started the school like almost 6 years ago. So this year, in fact, we're celebrating our 5th anniversary. So we did have over 3,000 students, in and out through our school. So the main instrument we teach here is, of course, piano and violin. And we do as well have meruhor and guitar students we do have. I'd very much like to have vocal students, but it's so hard to find the vocal teacher, but we're pretty busy with all the piano teachers and piano students and violin students. And we would like to just build up the three relationship between the teacher and then the parents and the student, So those three main stones are the important part to just collaborate together. Anyone interested in this music school, they would just think that, it's the school for kids, but it's not like that, because any class is just being taught individually, So I would just say that anybody above age of 4 or 5, would welcome to, my school, and even the adults, they would have this long dream to just be able to play 1 or 2 songs, right? But then that dream can come true here.
Wow, very noisy place. Everybody wants to take a photo with you, right? So, but when you weren't that famous as now, right? So I think you had the purpose just to introduce maybe yourself. But now, after becoming famous, what purpose do you follow?
If there's a students there, if there's a potential young artist there to actually, go in that path, I never really, there are times that I just would like to be just called only Deegii, right? So if there's a violinist, then it should be only Deegii, But I'm now very happy to actually just collaborate with the young artists, to demonstrate them, to support them in their the musical life, and the career, and how to actually give them the support, right? And give them the courage, So I'm planning for a concert now, end of November probably, to do a concert with one very, very polished, talented and young artist, who actually just started in the States and then just came here, So we're planning for a duet concert together. So it's going to be a really awesome night, I guess, Of course, me will be there and playing, and at the same time, I'm going to help him to be on the stage and to feel himself as a, performer, real performer, So that's what I'm working on it.
So in the process of creating those musical products, what challenges can you face and how do you solve them?
Oh, there are lots of challenges, of course, And people think that, it's just the music, I just do it with all the pleasure, but there is lots of pressures as well there, right? And then first of all, to be able to find the right composition, and then the right arranger, and then the right studio to, perform and to record the violin, and then the right
partner, maybe.
and it's a lot of effort and energy, and as well as economical challenge as well. So art is always there too. Art never really builds up without the support, So you need to have the really good supporting background.
And what inspires you the most to create those musical performances?
I don't know, there's always a burden, passion inside me. Always there, something burning. Always there, I have to do this, and so I guess, I'm destined to do this, and as long as I'm doing my music thing, as long as I'm doing and be closer to my violin, I'm always grateful, happy, and lucky and famous and best given, compared to others. So I'm happy. And at the same time, it's a huge responsibility,
And sometimes maybe you become very overloaded and stressed, right? So let's take a look then on the package with the yoga with your hobby, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My day starts with the yoga. So I'm so grateful to have this beautiful yoga called Bikram Yoga. and the hot yoga studio here in my apartment downstairs, and I'm just this is my second home, so I every time that I have the free time, then I'll just go downstairs and have this beautiful hot yoga, and it just gives me the very slow, at the same time very flexible morning, and peaceful morning it gives me every morning, and eventually it gives me the energy. The one thing about the yoga is that when you do the yoga, you get the energy back, You never really get tired. So I'm gonna go off to the yoga now.
Wow, interesting. Thank you. So we talked a lot about your work. Now let's talk about your family. How do you spend your free time with your family?
Recently, there was an artist day also happened, right? And there I saw the very funny text on the Facebook, saying that who do you recall the artist, right? Never seen in the home, never appeared in the home, and never the salary is never apparent as well, so it's never there. So that's the artist's life, and if someone who's actually married to an artist, and that's a destiny that you have to deal with, all the craziness.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, and the last question, could you please share with us with your dreams and maybe future goals of your life?
Future goals, of course, to be doing what I'm doing at the moment, and I'd love to maybe create a bigger school, and create a music center, and so I'm happy what I am today, who I am today, but always there's a dream there to actually go for, right? And so I'm planning for a bigger music school.
Okay.
And of course produce the beautiful songs and tracks, and so I'll still be doing what I'm doing.
Okay. And in your opinion, what's the key to the happiness?
They say that the happiness is right here. Only that you have to actually acknowledge the happiness, right? But to me, the real happiness comes from what you have, what you're happy with, and what you have at the moment in life, and be content with it, So that's again a happiness for me.
Okay.
And the video artist that goes up and down the most, the very volumized people, right?
Yes.
So that's where maybe our music, our emotions come from. So I am who I am.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and we wish you success and all the best. Dear viewers, today we had Mongolia's Got Talent's judge and also the founder of the Deegii's Music School, Violinist Deegii. We'll see you next week. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.